I'm Wendy O'Neill, and I'm a trustee of the Rockefeller Brothers Fund. The family's biggest gift in China was to Peking Union Medical College in 1917 to found a center of excellence for medical education in China. The impact that gift by the Rockefeller family had made on Chinese society, many of the most prominent doctors and medical university leaders and leaders in the Ministry of Health came through Peking Union Medical College. As we were starting our program at the Rockefeller Brothers Fund, I realized that we had a huge challenge in front of us to be able to match what Peking Union Medical College had accomplished. And it made me very proud of our tradition in China and hopeful that we could accomplish a lot in the future. I studied East Asian Studies as an undergraduate, and I have a master's degree in Chinese history, and I lived in Hong Kong for 12 years and Beijing for 3. So I have a deep sense of Chinese culture and a deep respect for Chinese culture. And I think increasingly the problems around the world are international. They're issues of people migration, of environmental issues that transcend borders. And I think it's very important as an American organization that we don't treat China like the United States, that we recognized that it's a different culture, it has a different way of solving its issues, and we have to learn to work with the people to solve the problems.
I'm Richard Rockefeller. I'm chair of the board of the Rockefeller Brothers Fund. The sentiments that my grandfather and grandmother and actually other relatives of that generation had for China, very positive feelings for the country, passed through the generations to all of us. So China, in a way, wasn't such an unfamiliar place to us as it might have felt for a lot of Americans. The board of Rockefeller Brothers Fund took a trip to China in 2007. We did that because our China program, although it was still new, had been there for long enough to really make important contacts and establish a program in China, and it was time for the board to go and see firsthand what that was all about. What I did come away with was a sense of the extraordinary dynamism of the people that we met in China in general. I was extremely impressed by the determination to do something about, in particular, the environmental problems that China faces. At all levels, this was true, and it was reflected not just in what people said, but what I learned about the policies that they're enacting. When it comes to southern China, RBF focuses its programmatic interests in the environment, dealing with both civil society and the government. We've had to learn quite a lot about what is acceptable and what works well in China. While in the process of trying to achieve those ends, I think that our other ends to make a more just and peaceful world are also served.
I'm Stephen Heintz, the president of the Rockefeller Brothers Fund. The fund was involved in grant making in Asia for many, many years, really going back to the beginning of the foundation's work. But we came to the conclusion that we were spread too thin over too much geography to really have deep impact. So we looked for places that we thought of having pivotal significance, places that if you really could make progress in, you could really change conditions in the world. And we ended up choosing southern China because we see China as perhaps the most important story of the 21st century. As we looked more deeply at China and its development, one of the interesting things that you see in Chinese history, both modern and ancient, is that much of the change in China actually starts in the South. The South is a place of innovation, of experimentation, and it's there that a lot of the ideas that ultimately become part of China's national policy or national direction start. The mission of the fund guides the work that we do everywhere, and in fact, we were drawn to China precisely because of our mission, which is about creating a more just, sustainable, and peaceful world. And if you look at China, those questions of justice, sustainability, and peace are critical to China's path of development in the 21st century. If it develops in a sustainable and peaceful way that also brings justice to its people, it will be a remarkable success story and good for the entire planet.